didn't do my intro countdown thing. That's okay. I know what you're thinking. He's rearranged his books. It's the first thing you guys are probably thinking as you saw that. Yes, I had Judah help me rearrange my books and make a little bit more room for other books. I have boxes of books in my office I need to find homes for. I actually have a plan for a bookshelf that I want to build. And all I need is time to build it, which probably isn't happening anytime soon. Still not feeling great. Prayers appreciated. Not horrible. Really just with throat and sinus and stuff, talking wears out my throat. And the youth, I teach for like an hour and a half often, and that would just fry my throat. And so I just didn't feel like putting myself through that agony last night. Chapter 7 of Ecclesiastes, verse 1 says, "A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. Better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart." Now, for what it's worth, you go into the house of mourning, and the end of all men is what you take to heart. So I mentioned one way, and I don't think I did it quite the justice yesterday, because I think you kind of need to do chapters 6 and 7 together to really get the full picture. But chapter 6, and you could even write in your Bible. Hopefully you've got your Bible. It's a great opportunity. This Bible study is no different than any other Bible study in that sense. But chapter 6, sometimes what seems good is actually bad. The riches, the wealth, all the stuff that you would think are good things. And I mean, it wouldn't be wrong to have some riches. Wouldn't mind that at all. But sometimes you find out that it actually just leads to all this bad. But then sometimes things that you think are bad actually turn out for the good. Makes me think of Joseph and his brothers. What you intended for evil, what Satan intended to do through them for evil, God intended for good. Now, here he's talking about the house of the mourning. It's people who've died. Someone has died. That's not good, right? But it talks about there's a good day, there's a good thing here. People are going into the house of mourning, and it's better than the house of feasting. And I would rather go to a buffet than a funeral home any day. Right? Is there anyone who disagrees with me? Team funeral home, team buffet, right? I'm on team buffet. But it says it's better to go in the house of mourning because the end of all men, everyone knows they're going to die. Lest the rapture comes, right? But I mean, apart from that, we all know we're going to die. But the living take it to heart. And that's a good thing. Memorial services, funeral services are actually a great time to share the gospel because people are thinking about eternity. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by a sound countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. So here's the deal. You got to pair 3 and 4 up together. Here's how it goes, right? Is that there are some people that turn to pleasure to try and block out their pain. And you'd think, well, do good things and I can block out this pain. I can block out this pain. I can block out this hurt. You know what? I'm just gonna veg out and watch TV. I like TV. And I feel so bad. I feel depressed. I feel discouraged. So I'm just going to watch a whole season of a show on Netflix. Or maybe I'm going to get a tub of ice cream. Now, I'm not going to be the person to deny the fact that I find there's that medicine in food. I get frustrated and I get discouraged, and I'm a Christian. So I can't gamble, and I can't smoke, and I can't drink, and I can't watch rated R movies, but I can eat ice cream. And so we find ourselves getting fat because we're trying to use pleasure to push out the bad. We want to push out the bad feelings. And so we're going to try and go to the house of mirth. That's the idea, is this idea of a place of happiness, of joy. I'm going to do pleasureful things. Mirth is always a picture of pleasure in the Bible, right? And so here's this. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to be happy. But the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. For by a sad countenance, the heart is made better. You know, maybe you do know. I know. I can speak for me. You guys are probably more mature than I am, but I've tried to medicate frustration and discouragement and depression with video games, with movies, with fun foods, with things that I'm allowed to do, and probably do it excessively if I'm discouraged. And what I have found is that I do enjoy the moment, right? I enjoy the show I watch. Go find a movie. I enjoy ice cream and chicken strips, burritos. Don't get me started on a list of foods I enjoy. But after the food is gone, after the movie's over, I'm never really in a better place. And maybe it gets me a little better, but probably no better than just a nap would have done. You know, like sometimes just a little bit of time helps things settle. But ultimately, I don't feel any better, because the house of mirth can't solve my problems. Trying to just do a bunch of pleasurable things can't solve my problems. But weeping does. Brokenness. Somehow I come out the other end feeling healed. A weight gets lifted off of me. There's a nearness to God there that no earthly thing can replace. Confession. Sometimes these feelings are brought on by guilt because I've been harboring ill feelings that only confession can deal with. And yet the moment I confess, oftentimes obviously to God, but sometimes to people, when there are people involved with these feelings and I need to confess to them, I've sinned against them, or perhaps it's an appropriate time to confess my ill feelings towards another person. Because I don't know about you guys. I know I'm in shape. You know, I work out, I exercise. Sometimes I feel like people think I'm like, I don't know, like I feel like I'm fat and overweight. And they're like, well, Joe, you're not fat. Well, I mean, but I'm not where I want to be, and I know why I'm there. I'm there because I made a lot of bad choices where I normally eat pretty healthy, but then due to seasons of life, I just let loose, and just when I want to eat, I eat. And that's because you go to the house of mirth. There's something about it that when we're frustrated, we want to fill it with pleasure. But then you gain 10 pounds and like, well, that doesn't make me any happier, does it? And same with everything else. I can go play a video game or something else, you know? It's like I typically have all video games like deleted and stuff, you know, and there's seasons where maybe I'll play a little bit here and there or whatever like that. I'm the generation raised on video games, right? But the point is that it's like, but I find it so empty in the end. I go back and look at all the hours I've spent, and it's just like, wow, I could have been doing so many better things with my time. And so sorrow is better than laughter if you need healing. For by a sad countenance, the heart is made better. If you've been frustrated lately, tears are medicinal. Don't be afraid to weep before the Lord, because that'll actually create healing. Don't just try and do fun stuff to get your mind off your problems. Get broken before your God, the one who can truly fix your problems and heal you and give you a peace and an assurance of his plan for your life. So, there we go. We made it 4 verses. That's almost the whole chapter. All right. You guys take care. Have an amazing day. Prayer tonight. I'll be at the church tonight, 6 to 7 for prayer. Maybe that's where you need to go, so you can take your stuff before the Lord and pray with your brothers and sisters. God bless you guys. I'll see you around.